All right, let's talk about some other miscellaneous rules. Commissions. Now we're talking about money here, not the real estate commission. Listing broker has the right to offer a portion of his commission to a broker, to the selling broker, to induce him to bring a buyer. Remember, we've talked about this. That's that BAC. Remember, we said half of it goes over there. What happens, we don't care. This is the law that says I have the right to do that. The commission is paid directly to the managing broker, never paid to the agent. Any action to recover fees or commission must be proved by a party who is not themselves in violation of license law at the time of the alleged violation. In the legal world, this is called the clean hands theory, or is it dirty hands? You cannot, yeah, you have to come with clean hands. You can't be in violation of the law and say, hey, they're violating the law and they owe me money. Like, I hired him to kill my husband. He didn't do it. I want my money back. Dude, you can't do that. All right. All right, the listing agreement. This is kind of funny how they do this. Must be in writing. What's the name of that law? I guarantee you guys need to memorize this because this question is one of their favorite ones several different ways. What's the law that says it has to be in writing? Statute of frauds. All right? Must have an expiration date. Must be in duplicate. Why 2 copies? One for the office, not you guys. One for the office, one for the client. Used to be, the old joke is press hard, there's 4 copies. Now in today's world with email, now you end up with about 30 copies. Because you put it on your email, you send it to them, they sign it and send it back. Now you've got 2 versions, so sometimes you have to go in and delete stuff. And it can't be a net listing. If it's a net listing, you have to disclose net listing. Remember net listing? I'll sell it for the price you want. Anything over that I keep as a... It's got to be disclosed if it's a net listing.
Can you put like a maximum commission of $1 million just to cover yourself if you wanted to?
You could put a maximum commission of $1 million. It will not pass the suitability test if you go in front of the commission.
But you didn't get $1 million.
But you didn't.
You put it there just to say, hey, I covered myself in case I got like
more.
3,000. I want to get 25.
Sure, put 1.28 million and say, oh, well, I only got 6,000. Yeah. That makes it look good, doesn't it?
I'm not greedy.
Yeah. I was set up for 1.28 million and I only took 6. I guess you could do that because it doesn't say you have to put down the commission you earn. You have to put down the maximum commission. Offers to purchase must be in writing. Statute of frauds, same thing. Quadruplicate, 4 copies. My client, me, the other side, and their client. That's 4. I love this. All offers, counteroffers, rejections must be communicated immediately. Whatever immediately means. As compared to a lightning strike? Or, yeah. Every manager shall deliver to their clients at the time of closing a list of all the documents. Now, if you've ever been to a closing, you know that the person comes back and hands the client the paperwork and says, here you go. You reach up and take it, deed transfers. Theoretically, what they're supposed to do is hand it to the agent. The agent looks through it, makes sure everything's there, and then they hand it to the client. But that's not really how it goes. So we are liable to make sure our clients get all the right paperwork. Managing brokers or their licensed associates must attend all closings. It's a new rule. Since we have to be there to answer questions, remember agency goes all the way till the time the deed gets accepted. So that's actually your client. And I told you this once before. If you've done your job right, theoretically you should not be needed at all. All right? You just sit there and twiddle your thumbs, play that new Golf Clash. whatever that is. And then go, oh, we're done? Okay. Let's move on. Advertising. All advertising, including, I love this. Wouldn't the word all advertising cover everything? But they write all advertising, including, well, all advertising must contain the name of the managing broker or the managing company. You cannot make it look like that you are an independent guy. It used to say there's an old rule that some of the old schools still think about. That's not true anymore. It used to say that the broker's name had to be bigger than your name. You used to have to put the Modulin Group, Raymond Modulin. Now they've changed it to the broker's name has to be prevalent, whatever that means. All right? You have to, on all your publicly advertisements, including radio, TV, social media, you have to make sure that people know that you are attached to a brokerage company. Now, there are some cases where that's not possible. And with new social media, Twitter's a good example. Because Twitter limits your ability to put characters, they now allow a link from Twitter to the page to describe who you are as acceptable. Or thumbnails. Sometimes they're so small you can't see. As long as there's a link. All right? Number 4 says you cannot advertise so that it looks like it's a private party. So you cannot put a sign in someone's yard and say, for sale, phone number, and they call you and you're an agent. That looks like a private individual. You've got to have a sign that says, for sale, the Modulin Group, Raymond Modulin, with the phone number. You have to let them know that they will be dealing with someone that's trained. You can also not have a blind ad. A blind ad is an ad that doesn't state the address, like a P.O. box, okay? Builders kind of do this a lot, but they're not members of the NAR. A builder where you'll see an ad for a house for sale, and you call them up, and they'll go, oh, that's the model. We're actually trying to sell the one coming out of the ground over here. They don't like that. You cannot advertise a house for sale without the owner's permission. All right? I've done this. I feel bad now that everybody's laughed. My neighbor across the street from me, you guys know those reindeer? We're getting to that time of the year, those reindeer that light up you put in your front yard? I had 2 of them in my front yard, and I came home one evening, and John had put the reindeer in a compromising position on my front lawn. And he thought it was hilarious. So the next day when he left, I stuck a for sale sign in his yard so that he would get phone calls all day. And he called, he's like, did you put a for sale sign in my yard? I'm like, hey, I got 2 offers, hold on. I didn't do that. What this means is there are guys that do this bait and switch. I knew a guy that did this routinely. You guys know where Bear Slide Golf Course is? As you turn it way up in Cicero, high-end golf course, high-end houses. The very first house on the golf course is a huge 9,000 square foot house. There was a sign in it for sale. They would call on the sign and he would say, oh, I just sold that one, but I've got another one for sale. Would you like to see it? And then he would pay that guy a little money. Well, he got busted doing that. So that's what they're trying to eliminate, is to actually do it so that you're not, that guy literally has to be for sale. There was another situation where this happened where, and I think we talked about this in here, high-end homes had a bunch of vacant lots that didn't sell. The builder went bankrupt, sold the lots to a lower-end home, and they were threatening to build, $150,000 houses in these $400,000 neighborhood. What the neighborhood got together and tried to do was they contacted a agent who literally put signs in every one of their yards for sale to make it look like that it was not a stable neighborhood so that no one would buy any of the new lots. All right? They got caught with that too. All right? Yes, they could reduce, but then it technically is for sale. Just never accept the offer. Yeah, anytime you find a law, there's going to be a way to beat the law. But that's what they were trying to keep you from doing. Letter F, you cannot buy for yourself or your firm without making your position known to the seller. If you're a buyer and you got a license, you have to disclose on your purchase agreement. We actually have a blank. It says the buyer is licensed. Here's my license number. 99.9% of the time, we have to fill that blank in with NA, but occasionally the buyer's licensed, so you have to disclose that. Because remember, you guys are trained in the ancient ninja arts of real estate. So you have to tell the seller that you may know a little more than them. You cannot receive commission on a house you buy or sell without advance notice. All right? Hey, we actually now have a new form called interest in real estate or interest in real property that we have to fill out and submit it when we list or buy. In general, always disclose.
Say that again. So you can't get a commission on a house you own
Without disclosing that you have an interest. Can you get a referral? Yes, but you would still disclose it because you're getting paid. It's not that hard. It's not that big a deal. All right. When you buy, you put it on the purchase agreement. When you sell, there is a form called an interest in real estate that you fill out that says, yes, I'm the owner, or I'm related to the owner, or I own 10% of the company that owns that. All right.
If someone buys, if you use an agent to buy investment property and you yourself are an agent, do you have to disclose that? Okay.
If you are going on title or off title and you have a license, you have to disclose.
So the rest of our lives, if we have our license, if we buy anything for ourselves, for anything, we always have to disclose it.
Yes, you always have to disclose. I mean, throughout the whole transaction, it's transparent. There's no more paperwork or anything that you have to do. The only thing you have to do is let them know, I know what I'm doing. That's all you're telling them. All right? There's no penalty for it. There's no tax on it. There's no discount for doing it. It's just the fact that you have to tell them, hey, I know what's going on. I have to tell you in advance. Once again, it protects the public by letting them know it's not two morons dealing with each other. One of the morons has a license.
But
That didn't come out right.
the person who's selling a house doesn't have to know the name of the person who's buying the house until the...
Well, yeah, it'd be on the purchase agreement. It would come across as Jonathan Bird as the buyer, and then in the further conditions, it would say that, yes, the buyer has a license, RB 1239628. So, yeah, they would know the name. If you're a corporation, there have been people that have tried that. You still have an interest. So there's two roles. If you're going on or off the property, or you have an interest in the property. The other one, there was one that was just recently in Connecticut where the guy sold his father-in-law. His father-in-law was a client, and he didn't disclose that he was related to the buyer. And the court found that he had an interest in the property because if the father-in-law died, it would have came to him in a will. So he should have disclosed that he was related to the buyer. Is that a valid reason to back out or to not accept it? It's not a valid reason to back out. I mean, once you got it formed and all of a sudden you find out hey, they have a license, you can't undo the contract because they've got a license. Now, if you get two offers and one comes over when one guy's licensed and the other isn't, you could say, yeah, I chose that, and that was my deciding factor. Yes, you have the right to say no to any offer, but once you've formed the contract, that's not a reason to allow you to back out of it.
My thought is if somebody has means and they're trying to get a deal and like, hey, this guy's got more money and then I'm not going to accept this offer because I know he can pay more.
What?
Let's say I'm buying a house, all right?
All right.
And this guy knows who I am. And I'm like, oh, Jonathan Bird, he's got money. I'm not going to accept that offer because I know he's got more money. He can pay more.
Yes.
That sucks.
That's true, John.
I'm just saying.
You know,
maybe disclose, like, okay, maybe I use a company name, but now I'm an agent, so you got to put my agent number and all that sort of stuff.
yeah, but they can look up the agent number, or they may not look up the agent number. Two stories. One is Walt Disney. That's why Walt Disney bought all the land in different companies, because they said, hey, he owns those, let's charge him more for this one. So he bought all the land in different company names. You remember Rick Ropke, that owned Ropke Printing downtown, that owned all the military out on the west side of town, that all the helicopters and tanks? Rick was a friend of mine, and when I used to do radio, he would call me and go, hey, I love your show, you're doing good. He said, but let me tell you a piece of advice that has always stuck with me. He said, the higher you climb on the tree, the more people want to shoot at your ass. And that's true. So unfortunately, with a name like yours that is well known, people are going to go, oh, Jonathan Bird, yeah, he's got money, don't discount it. Which may or may not be true. They just know that. All right? Or when someone says, oh, you know, the Modulin Group is ranked 59th out of 1,400. They've got to be good because they're ranked high. No, may not be true. They just happen to know the name.
I thought it was a thing that you didn't know who was purchasing your property until you got to the closing.
No, it's the name's on the purchase agreement. You've not met them. And how do you know that the Jonathan Bird name on the purchase agreement truly is that Jonathan Bird? That could happen. It would suck for the other guy to get stuck with somebody famous like you. Or infamous.
I'm just a chicken cook.
Just a chicken cook. Well, so was Uncle Sam, or
Colonel Sanders.
yeah, same thing. Colonel Sanders, Uncle Sam, you know who I meant. Let's change audio files.